Hello, this is Sonia from Transcribe Right, and today we're going to be looking at a Word template set up using styles so that you can prepare NVivo Ready transcripts for research purposes. You can see on the screen that I have got an NVivo Ready template open, and the first thing that I would like to do before we go any further is to switch on the Hide Unhide formatting button so that I can see the formatting that's in this document. As we're going to be working with styles again, I want to switch on the styles pane, which will list the styles that are actually used in this document. And then I want to show Styles Guide, which provides a lovely color-coded key of the styles that are used in this document. So if we look down, we can see that this document contains a body text Q style, which is style 1. It contains a body text A style, which is style 3. It contains a heading 1 style, which is style 4. It contains a heading 2 style, which is style 5. And it contains a title style, which is style 6. And when we look on the left-hand side of the document, we see that the styles are marked up down along this left-hand margin. Now, looking at this template, you'll see at the start of the document there are some instructions about how it has been set up. This is an old template. You'll see that it's compatible with NVivo software version 7 through 9. I think the current version of NVivo is version 11 at the time of making this video, and this template, this document, will still work with NVivo 11. Nothing has changed in regards to setting up a Word template that is NVivo ready. Now, if we have a look at the instructions that have been provided, you'll see that it tells us that the name of the document has been set up using the title style, that the speaker identification for the interviewer has been set up using heading 1, and the speaker identification for the interviewee has been set up using heading 2, that the words that are actually spoken by the interviewer have been set up using body text Q, and the words that are spoken by the interviewee have been set up using body text A. So body text Q is for questions, body text A is for answers. Then we have this little bit of information here that says do not add any extra paragraphs in between, do not change the paragraph spacing below. So they don't want you to put in any extra returns. The document has been set up so that the spacing after a return is double spacing, so there's no need to put in an extra return. And then finally, on the instructions, there's a little bit of information and a link to Microsoft Word's website where you can go and look up additional information on styles. Hopefully, if you were allocating a job out to a subcontractor and you were providing this template to them, if they were unfamiliar with styles and they were unsure of how to use this template, they would contact you and let you know that they were unsure. To have a transcriber prepare a template that needs to go through NVivo software when they don't know what they're doing can end up costing you a lot of money in editing. The last thing on the instructions section says delete this instruction section before you start. And you'll notice as I'm moving my cursor around over the instructions compared to when I move it around over the body of the template, that when I'm over the instructions I have the little compass cursor showing up. This indicates that this isn't text, it's actually an image that's in the document. So if I click on the image, the text box outline shows up, and as the instructions say, I can hit delete and it removes it from the template. I'm going to hit delete again just to make this nice and tidy. Now I can see straight away, looking at the heading of the transcript here, something's gone a bit off with the font, the text just in this section here. So if we make sure the cursor's there and we hit title, that'll clean it up. Now you'll see in this template that the person who set it up has left some text in there, just as an example of how it should look when the transcript's finished. Your client will tell you what the name of each transcript will be. Normally it will be the name of the audio file that they send you, so you would change that for each transcript to match with the name of the audio file that you were transcribing. And then if you look through the body of the transcript, in particular if we look over here where the styles are marked, you'll see that there's a pattern that's formed, and the pattern is style 4, style 1, style 5, style 3, and that pattern repeats over and over. So having the show styles happening on the transcript as you're working through it is a really good tool, because it'll show straight away if the pattern gets mucked up. And if your pattern gets mucked up, that means that you have marked text in the body of the transcript incorrectly, which will be bad for your client, because when they run it through the NVivo software, it will pull out incorrect data for them. The way the NVivo software works is that the client will take the transcripts from all of the interviews that they conduct. They will put information into NVivo that lets NVivo know which styles have been used, and then they will instruct NVivo what information they want pulled from the transcript. So they will want all of the words that are spoken by the interviewee pulled out of the transcript, but they may not want all of the words that are spoken by the interviewer, because that's not where the information relevant to their research is going to be located. It's going to be in the responses that they've gotten from the people that they're interviewing. So they'll instruct NVivo to only extract the information that has been marked with style 3, and NVivo will run through all of the transcripts from the interviews that were conducted and grab the information that has been marked as style 3. It will then go through and look for keywords and key terms, and it will form linkages and provide analysis to the researcher. So that's how NVivo works, and that's why we use styles in an NVivo Ready transcript, so that the researcher has it all ready to go and input into NVivo. The other thing that you want to make sure is working properly before you actually start typing into your template and using it to prepare the transcripts is that the styles have been set up so that they follow on automatically when you hit return. So let me see if I can show you clearly what I mean by that. If we look over here down the left hand side where the colour code is, we can see that the first style used is style number 4, and style number 4 is heading 1. When we look back over here on the left hand side, we can see that the next style we're using is style number 1, which is the body text of the question. So it's the words that are spoken by the interviewer. The first element we want is the speaker identification marker, which is interviewer, and then straight after that we want the actual words that are spoken by the interviewer. So when we put the speaker identification interviewer in and we hit return, we would like Word to automatically switch off style 4 and switch on style 1 for us. That's going to save us a lot of time of going over here and clicking on a style and coming back and clicking on the style and coming back. So to do that, let's go over to style number 4 here on the right hand side, and we go to style 4, which is heading 1. Click the little down arrow and select Modify Style. A little screen will pop up called Modify Style. On it we will see the properties for heading 1, and we'll see that this style is based on the normal style, and down in this little section here you can see all of the actual format settings that have been set up for the font. Now this is the bit that we're interested in. The style for the following paragraph. So what that means is which style has been set up to follow the heading 1 when we hit return. And we can see that it's body text. If you click on that arrow, you can see that all of the possible styles that have been set up currently are visible in the list. Let's stick with the body text one that's been selected, and we'll check in a second and make sure that that actually is going to work. So we will click OK, Now let's go over, and body text 1 is style 1. Sorry, body text Q is style 1, which is green. So if we go over to the right hand side, let's have a look and see what has been set to follow it. Click the down arrow and select Modify Style. When the screen opens up, you'll see here that the properties are for the style named body text Q. That's the style we're using to indicate when the interviewer is speaking. It's based on the normal style. And the style for the following paragraph, so the style it will switch to when we hit return, is heading 2. If I look over here, heading 2 is style 5. If I go back to the left hand side, I can see style 5 is the speaker identification for the interviewee. So that's correct. We do want that. We want style 1 to switch to style 5 when we hit return. So we'll click OK. Now let's go and see style 5 and make sure that it's set up to switch to style 3 when we hit return. So down to the right hand side, we'll modify the style. It's heading 2. It's based on the normal font, and the style that has been set to follow it is the normal font. And if we have a look over here, that's the font that has been set up for the body text A. So this is correct. And we can click OK. The last thing we want to check is what style has been set up to follow style number 3, which is the body text A. So going back to the right hand side, we'll click the down arrow on body text A, modify style. We can see that this is the properties for the style called normal body text A. It's apparently based on no style, but the thing that's most interesting for us is that the style for the following paragraph is heading 1, and that's exactly what we want it to be. So let's click OK. We're just going to do a little test and make sure that the styles have been set up properly, and when we hit return they will switch over to the next style that we need to use in the template. So I'm just going to put my cursor down the bottom of the text that's in the template at the moment, and when I hit return, alright, it's switched from style 3 to style 4, which is exactly what I want it to do because that's our pattern, 3, 4, 1, 5. So if I hit return again, it goes to style 1, which is fantastic. It's exactly what we want it to do. When I hit return again, it switches to style 5, which is perfect. And when I hit return again, it switches to style 3. So the styles have been set up perfectly to switch to the correct style whenever we hit return, which means that as we put the content into this transcript from the audio file we'll be listening to, we can feel pretty secure that the styles are acting correctly in the transcript. You'll want to run your eye down the side before you finalise this transcript and return it to the client to make sure that nothing has gone out of whack with it. But yeah, so that is how you would work with a template that is set up to be NVivo ready for a client who is a researcher and needs these transcripts to run through NVivo software for analysis. And just to give you a little bit of practice, we're going to give you an NVivo template and some audio to transcribe into it. So enjoy that exercise.